Hello, good morning, Floralpreneurs. Good Friday morning to you. High Five Friday. Give yourself a high five for whatever you have done this week because getting to the end of the year is always like I feel like a victorious time. You're like, oh, the closing of another season, another year. But it's also a time where I think we can feel a lot of pressure and a lot of hustle. So it's not always easy to stay super jolly once December hits. Also, I don't know if you're like, about planning for next year. What are we going to do next year? What are you going to do next year? And the reason is because it is the time to start thinking about next year, but it can be really, really hard, especially when when we're floralpreneurs, we're solopreneurs a lot of the time. A lot of us are one woman or one man shows, right? We have to do the planning, make the decisions, execute, make the flowers, answer the phone, reply to the emails, write the proposal, do the consultation. We do all of that stuff, right? Like we're pretty amazing, right? So high five yourself for being so amazing. But don't let the overwhelm of like this end of year time, right? Whether it's a happy time or a sad time, like not end of year doesn't necessarily mean like, everyone's feeling super warm and fuzzy inside. Some people, this is just like a hard time of year. Don't get bogged down with anything that feels hard, okay? But recognize that the reason people are in your ear about planning for next year and thinking ahead is because it really is the time to do that. But if you can't think ahead to next year just yet, focus on really having a clear picture of what you accomplished this year. Give yourself those high fives and appreciate yourself for all the awesomeness that you have already accomplished this year and make next year an even better year. Planning is definitely one of the ways you're going to make next year a better year. So don't hate on everybody, including me, who's trying to get in your head about planning, okay? But maybe open them up in January. Maybe open those emails in January and finally dive into them. But know that there's a reason and that planning for success is how you get to success. Oh, hi, Perry. Good morning to you, my friend. So today I wanted to bring you here to talk a little price talk because it's the end of the year. It's a time when I'm seeing lots of people talk about pricing. Again, if you're anything like me, you're sending out lots of quotes. Maybe most of your quotes have already been sent out. Or maybe this like January, February time is when people just sort of wake up and you're about to hit the ground running once Christmas is over and people go, oh boy, if I didn't get my flowers yet, it's panic time, right? So we have a lot of pressure on us, right? A lot of demands and a lot of time sensitive demands. So I want to recognize how busy you are. I want to talk a little bit about price. I'm going to keep it short. And one of the reasons I want to keep it short is because I have talked about pricing. I've been talking about pricing, right, for like 2 years, ever since I started my very first course, Flower Math. So I've got other resources I will also add in the comments linked to this video. So if you need more free pricing advice, you're going to get it. My course, Flower Boss 2, for example, is a wrap-up of 2 live streams that really talk to you about industry standard pricing. So if you're not familiar with me, I'm Alison Ellis. I am the host of this group, and I have my website, realflowerbusiness.com, which is truly designed to help florists of all levels, whether you're brandy new and you don't even feel comfortable saying that you have a business yet, or you've been in business for 35 years, okay? I've got courses that are designed to help you move your business forward because we should always be moving forward. And that's why everybody's sending you these planning emails, right? Because if you don't think forward, all of a sudden you get into the middle of January, you're like, what's going on here? What's my plan? Where are the customers? Where are the weddings? And that panic starts to set in. We have all felt that panic. If you have ever felt that panic, it's okay to admit it. If you ever feel that panic of the calendar's not fully booked, I don't know what I'm going to do, are my sales going to come through this year? That is part of what we signed up for here, unfortunately, is that is part of these bumps in the road. And planning helps with that. Planning helps. Planning helps you realize, like, for example, right now, I know what my sales are projected for next year. Hopefully some of you are doing that too, because there's no reason to be in the dark. It shouldn't be like tax time comes, it's like, oh, surprise, look at where we're at. Good, bad, ugly, whatever, right? You have to pay attention to these things. And planning is how we start to realize in January, uh-oh, by August, we're going to have some money troubles. I better start planning something that starts happening, right? What can you start selling at that point to start bringing in the dollars? So don't be afraid of your numbers, okay? Do not be afraid. They tell you the truth. The answer is almost always found in the numbers. So if y'all out there are struggling with pricing, feel free to give me a like, make a comment, let me know what you're struggling with. I've got 3 tips I really want to share with you today. Now, first of all, if you really do need help with pricing, if you're still winging it, if you're not comfortable and confident every single time you send out a quote, Flower Math was really made for you, and I'll talk to you about that at the end. It is available anytime, okay? It is available anytime you want it. But if you might not want it. You might not want to learn how to price, right? But you owe it to yourself and your business to do it, and it's super duper easy. So don't be intimidated by the idea of like an online course and what does this mean, and do I have time for this? You do have time for it. You got to make the time for it, because if you don't have your pricing on lock, it kind of screws with some of your other successes, right? That permeates other places. If you're lacking confidence, it's going to get you. It's going to show up in other places, okay? So let me dive into these 3 really important things I want to talk to you about today. Price talk. It's price talk with Alison today. Number 1, okay, is that there is an industry standard on pricing. That is obviously what I teach in Flower Math. You want to price like a flower shop, okay? That is, whether you own a flower shop or you work from home, there's no reason why your work that you do at home is less important or less valuable or cost you less, really, than a flower shop. So if you're a home-based floral designer, I think we've got a nice mix actually in this group of like home-based, and actual brick and mortar shops. The pricing should be the same. There's not like a, you know what, I don't have a high overhead discount that you give your customers. Why would you do that? What is it? How is that to your benefit to give customers a discount because you don't pay overhead like a flower shop, okay? Price the same, price the same. So you want to follow the flower shop model, okay? Again, I'm going to post a link to Flower Boss 2 and really dive into this stuff with you. You want to have a 3 to 4 times markup on your flowers. Now, 3 to 4 times, that's 300 to 400%. That's what those numbers are. So don't think, well, I mark them up 3 times and 4 times only 1 times more than that. Okay, these are things I hear flowers say. 4 times is 100% more than that 300%, okay? So understand, okay? Understand the why and the what of your pricing. On top of your markup on your flowers, you're going to add a design fee. Again, I give you some guidelines on this in Flower Boss 2. Your design fee should be a percentage. If you want to charge more than that percentage, good on ya. I am totally fine with that. But you must understand the industry standard and what that pricing would look like, okay? What it should look like before you decide that you're going to charge more, or for some crazy reason I don't understand, discount it and charge less than the industry standard, okay? So that is what Flower Math is really designed to teach you how to do. And even people who have been florists for quite a long time have taken Flower Math and been like, this was super valuable. This really helped me, okay? So you got to understand backwards and forwards, okay? How do you add your design fee on? How do you back a design fee out? This is critical information, and I really walk you through all of it. And it's easy, and you can do it immediately. I have people who've bought Flower Math on Monday, and by Tuesday been like, this is amazing. I went to my wholesaler today. He said he's never seen me be so efficient and effective with my buying, and bing, bang, boom, I am so ready to tackle this rest of my life as my business, okay? So don't think this is something complicated. Don't be afraid of numbers, okay? You cannot run a business and be afraid of numbers, okay? I'm just gonna boom, you're not allowed anymore to be afraid of numbers, whether that's your accounting or your pricing or anything about your business. Go to the numbers, find comfort in them. Truth will set you free, okay? Whether it's that you had a great sales year or a crap sales year, the truth will set you free and help you decide what your plan is going to be for next year. So Number one is there is an industry standard on pricing, and you should follow it no matter what room you stand in, whether it's a garage, a kitchen, a basement, or an actual beautiful flower shop. Pricing should be standard. The number two thing I want you to know is anybody who tells you that you should be pricing based on need is crazy pants, okay? Straight up, I am writing the prescription, crazy pants. That's a myth. It is a myth that you should, as a floral designer, price based on need. I have seen this taught multiple times by multiple people who sell way more courses than I do, I can tell you that, and they're putting out there really not good information. So anytime you hear somebody say price based on need, turn down the volume and get out of there because that's not correct, okay? We are not like other creatives. We are a business that has a business model. It's called the flower shop. And when we follow that flower shop model, we make money every time. But when you price based on need, I like to stay tuned in. I will see what people are saying. And when I do the math, when they do the math, when they're doing their little webinar on how you should price based on need, what they're showing every time is if you don't follow the industry standard, you make less money. Did I just blow your mind? I hope not, because that's super obvious, okay? If you don't follow the pricing structure that is industry standard, you're gonna make less money. Now, it might be enough money based on your need, but let's talk about how many super successful people price based on need. Let's see, does Apple price based on need? Do they charge only what they need to get for an iPhone? Does it cost them that many hundreds of dollars to make an iPhone? Or are they pricing based on the fact that they have a captive audience who wants their stuff? They're pricing based on whatever the market will bear. If people would pay $1 million for an iPhone, that would be the price of it, okay? So not that you have to be Apple, okay? But let's really look at the companies you admire, the businesses you admire. Do they stop at need? Do they say, well, here's what I need to make, so that's all I'm aiming for. Once I get there, I'm done. The Rockefellers were like, yeah, you know what? This property in New York I'm gonna sell, you know, I just don't need that much money for it, you know? No, don't fall for that line, okay? And I am containing some of the things I really want to say about the people, because there's more than one out there teaching florists that you should price based on need. That is completely made up because they don't understand the industry standard, okay? Snaps, done, close it out. It's a myth that you should price based on need. If you need $50,000 to support your household, that's good to know. You should know that. But if you can make $80,000, why would you stop at 50? Because it's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of understanding. So do not fall for that. You should know what you need to make so that you know when you've had enough sales or when it's time to panic and try to get a part-time job for whatever month, right? Like this is real life, right? This isn't like some fantasy of like flowers are so beautiful and it's so profitable. It's hard. And even after many excellent sales years, you can hit a blip. And knowing and seeing that blip ahead of time, you can brace yourself for impact, okay? But pricing based on need as a florist is incorrect, and please don't do it. And if you have any questions on that, shoot me an email. I will have a personal conversation with you about it if you need to understand that more. But it is really, really true that pricing based on need is something that is for creatives, photographers, wedding planners, right? Any other people who don't have already this nice cozy nest of industry standard pricing that is easy to learn because I teach it to you in Flower Math. And really that's why I made Flower Math, is because there are so many really talented designers that I know or that I see around there on the interwebs. And I know for a fact that they don't understand pricing. So they're not making as much as they should be making. So that also speaks to the idea of like, don't ever be jealous of what other people are doing or what it looks like other people are doing. Because at the end of the day, all I care about is how much money did I put in my back pocket on my wedding, at the end of my year, at the end of my season, not what what exposure did somebody else get, or what cool, like, thing is going on with somebody else. Unless I know for a fact that they like made bank on that wedding and it was a great gig, then okay, wow, I'm so jealous, right? They made the money, they had a great customer, they had the trust, they had everything. But you can't be jealous of an illusion, okay? So if you are out there and you're talented and deep down you're not doing your pricing right, like make this the time to fix that. So the third piece of this price talk is, we're having this whole big tax situation here in the United States, and they're talking about trickle down economics, right? Which is untrue. It's an untrue thing. But I think there's a such thing as trickle down confidence, and I think that comes from your pricing. Okay, so if you're confident in your pricing, it makes it easier to be confident in other areas too. If you're confident in your pricing, when someone comes back to you and says, I can't do $6,000 for my floral budget. What do we have to do to get it down to 3? You can tell them what you can do to get it to 3, or you can tell them, see you later. That's never going to happen. You can tell them with honesty where we go from here. When you show up to deliver, right? Does anybody ever walk in to deliver something and you go, I hope they like this. I'm not sure. I hope this feels like the $75 arrangement that they paid for. If you feel that, right? Done. Flower math. Flower math. You have confidence when you walk in. You should have confidence. This is $75 arrangement. Whether you like it or not, I filled it to value. If you don't like it, that's something else, right? We could talk about that. We can change this around. But in terms of value, if you go, oh, it's a little small for $75. I know. Can you believe that a Stilby is like $6 a stem? I mean, it's beautiful. It's stunning. But I know it really does add up, okay? Because there's a difference between showing up and being unsure and showing up and being at least sure about some of it, right? At least sure that this pricing is on point. When I do weddings, when I make my recipes, when I'm making arrangements, I go in and I do the math. I stand there with, I want to say my calculator, but it's my iPhone. I stand there with my iPhone and add it all up. Okay, I've got 3 roses at $5 a piece. I've got 2 snapdragons at $3 a piece, and I add it up. And then I add my design fee and I add my container. And when I look at it, I go, this is to value, done. It doesn't matter that the stock that I wanted to put in here didn't come in right, so it's missing a stock. If it's missing a stock, but it's filled to value, it's done, okay? So there should be a level of ease that comes when you have confidence in your pricing, okay? And it permeates to everything else. That it trickles down, right? Like if lack of confidence permeates into like undermining other aspects, having confidence trickles down into confidence in everything else. Oh, sure, I'll put a quote together for you, no problem, because you're not afraid to sit down and do those numbers because you understand, okay? You're not afraid to have that conversation. Oh gosh, you want to talk about the quote? Ugh. You're not afraid because you understand and you can justify, right? So if you're feeling less than confident, right? If you're like, but I've been doing it this way and it's working okay, and I'm not making a 70% profit margin on my weddings, and you should make a 70% profit margin on the cost of all your flowers and supplies. You're going to pay people, that's going to come out of that 70%. But when it comes down to like when people say, oh, it's so hard to make money in this business, if you're charging appropriately, you should make money every single time. Now, this is the part in a normal webinar where I would tell you my story about how I struggled with pricing and how something turned it around for me, okay? That's how like a script of a webinar would go. I don't have that story to tell you because I learned the right way from the beginning. And again, that is why I made Flower Math, because it finally dawned on me that I was like one of the lucky ones, right? Like I was not the norm when it came to being a home-based florist. Then in fact, learning from multiple flower shops, the exact same pricing at every one of them, And that had a huge impact on how I ran my business. That from the get-go, whether I was doing little bud vases for the brunch, luncheonette thing, or whether I was doing a single arrangement for the bar at my favorite Asian restaurant, or whatever it was, I was always making money. I was always charging appropriately. I was always doing the flower math. So, you take for granted, I guess this is the part where I should tell you how I've always taken for granted my understanding of pricing. And I don't take it for granted anymore. And that's why 2 years ago when I said, florists need this, I sat down like it was like my hair was on fire and I had to put together this flower math course. I really hammered this thing out. I mean, really, I had it tested, right? I talked to people. And that's the other piece about the flower math. When you talk to other pros, right, whether it's someone who has a super successful business or runs a super awesome flower blog, like some of my friends, when you present this, they're like, yep, that's right. When you say you should be making a 70% profit, they go, yep, that's right. It's universal, okay? It's not something that I made up. It's not like something cute I made up to teach people how to price. It's really what I learned in the hard streets of the flower shops, right? Of all the flower shops I've ever worked in. So it is industry standard, and I feel very confident presenting it to you like that, which is also why I get super fired up when people are like, there's no industry standard, you should price based on need. That's not doing you a service, okay? So I don't care if you buy flower math, as long as you know that there is an industry standard and that you should be following it, and don't believe the hype of people who say you should price based on need. That is just not correct in terms of your future, right? So I made this course because I have a passion to teach florists how to make more money with their business so they can be more successful. Maybe you take fewer weddings because you made more on all the others that you booked, right? That's like, this is a course from my heart. So when someone says, oh, you should price based on need, it's like a gut punch where I just want to really punch back and say, no, you are not going to help florists with that kind of talk. Not around here, not on my watch. I see some comments coming through, so I'm going to read some of them and hope to answer some of them for you. And one thing I just wanted to do is tell you a little bit about what people actually say about flower math. So I have a whole page of just testimonials on flower math. You can find them on my website at realflowerbusiness.com. And someone actually bought my course recently who bought 3 other courses, 3 big name courses that you have definitely seen before. And what she said was she actually got a refund on one of the courses because she was like, I'm not trying to hear this. This is not a good enough course for what she paid. She bought flower math, which was a leap of faith, right? Because she had already been disappointed. And she said that flower math answered all of her questions, whereas the other 3 courses, 3, count them 3, left things muddy when it came to pricing. Don't be in the mud when it comes to pricing. It's your business, right? You need to understand why you price the way you do and what your prices are. All right, let me see if I can pull up some comments over here. Bear with me a second. All right, here, I'm going to try them over here. Hopefully I don't lose anything. Okay, Janet says, this is what has carried me through the difficulty of not knowing all the other things about running a flower shop. I bought the shop knowing nothing, and thanks to Allison, and having a good handle on pricing and understanding the markups, it hasn't been a complete disaster, and we have doubled revenue. Janet, amen, hallelujah, like seriously, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. And I really agree with that premise that like, if you just understand the pricing, everything else is figure outable, right? I love Marie Forleo, and she always says everything's figure outable. Everything is figure outable, right? But not pricing. Pricing needs to be taught. It's teachable, right? That like seriously made my day. Can I copy that and put that on my website? All right, Suzanne, I've never heard anyone talk about price based on need. Can you explain? Yes, Suzanne, because it's crazy pants. They're basically saying how much money do you need to make based on an event? Now that also presumes that people know how much they need to make, which I think is also like a false premise that people don't know. People do not know. And again, that's why I made flower math. So you don't have to come up with some fake number of what do you need to make. You just make money every time, right? Just much easier that way. We'll just make money every time and not worry about that. So yeah, they'll say things like, Well, if you want to make $50,000 in your business, then you only need to mark up your flowers 2 times and you only need to charge a 20% design fee, for example. Okay? So hopefully your hair is on fire too, because that makes me so angry. Janet said, you're my floralpreneur inspiration. Looked into other people and you are the best. Thank you, thank you. Can I put that on my website? Can I tattoo that right on my arm here? All right, let me see if I can scroll up and get some of these other comments. Oh, hey, Susan. Can you talk about fees beyond markup and design fee, like labor for setup and stripe? You are like right on cue. Yes, and I talk a lot about that actually in Flower Boss too. But so there's industry standard pricing on your markups, your labor, your containers, your candles, everything you buy. And then labor, that's something where I think it's a little more choose your own adventure. There are percentages that people will charge. 10 to 20% is what most of the super pros that I trust tend to suggest as like that starting price on your labor for delivery and setup. Same thing with breakdown. It could be 10 or 20%. It depends on how much you have to do. What I like to do is charge by, I have like a set hourly rate and I figure out hours, time, mileage, right? All that kind of stuff. And then I kind of do it both ways. I like to really be numbers and fact-based as much as possible. So I'll do it both ways. So if it's $75 an hour for X number of people, for X number of hours, for X number of vehicles, right? If you're renting a vehicle, well, that goes in too. So what are all the pieces that go into this delivery and what will I charge for that? And then maybe I'll compare that with what 10% or 20% of the total is and just sort of give myself a check. One thing I'll do is, for example, if you have a lot of setup and you also have to break down, what I'll do is try to figure out both of those prices like at the same time. Like, okay, so this is how much and then this is how much. And I might just sort of borrow a little from the breakdown fee and add it into the delivery fee so that the number is the same. Let's say it's $1,000, okay? I want $1,000 for delivery and breakdown. But I don't want the breakdown to look too expensive. I don't know. We all play these mind games with ourselves, right? But it is about how we present things sometimes and how you present pricing. There's a lot of psychology around that. So what I'll sometimes do, because I think delivery and setup feels more worth it than just like breakdown. So I might charge, say, $750 for the delivery and, you know, charge less for the breakdown, even though at the end of the day, I really wanted to charge $500 and $500 because it's the same amount of time, same amount of vehicles, right? So you can sort of choose your own adventure with that. You can also make your delivery something where it's like whatever the market will bear, right? If you're super awesome and in demand, you can have a I don't get out of bed for an less than $800 delivery fee, whether you're 10 minutes down the road or, you know, halfway across, you know, the country, whatever it is, I don't get out of bed for less than this amount. So you can make your own rules on the pricing of your delivery and setup and breakdown. But, you know, here's one little mental hurdle that I had to get over is, well, it seems so expensive and they're already spending so much money. Think about what your local rental company charges to deliver one extra napkin if they need something brought. Or what does it cost for them to come and break down some tables or whatever it is. Find out what that fee is. When I found out that like the rental company was charging, I don't know if it was like it's $200 to deliver to this particular area, whether you got one fork or, you know, a truckload. That's when I was like, yeah, forget it. My breakdown fee is going up. So if I'm coming to you on a Sunday, you best believe that's a $350 breakdown at this point because my Sunday is worth at least that much to me. So that's my get out of bed fee for that. If you're going to be there late at night, you know, that's your whole day, man. It's not like, oh, well, we have off between, you know, 3 and 11. No, you don't. All you're thinking about is like, oh, is it time to go? Is it time to go, right? You can't sit down. You can't have a glass of wine or whatever. You're maybe falling asleep on the couch at 9 and waking up and going out, right? That's worth something, okay? So never, ever discredit yourself in terms of like, oh, well, it doesn't take that much skill. Well, guess what? Skill is not sometimes what people are getting paid for. It's just to show up and get the job done, right? If you want somebody to show up at midnight to clean up a venue space, that costs money. That's how that works. Let's see. Rental companies always charge more. Yes, they do. So if the rental company can charge it, you can charge it, right? They're not necessarily, and this is like not at all a diss against people who work at the rental company, but they're not sending like this highly skilled like owner to, they're sending hourly employees and they're making money, a lot of money off of the fact that they're driving that van down there, and right? So if they can do it, you can do it. Thank you for the explanation. From time to time, I hear new designers who do not charge for setup and strike, and it hurts my heart and my head. It's true. I mean, I will admit that was all right. Here's my money woes story. I have one. I realize I have a pricing struggle story for you. For a really long time, I was charging like $150 to deliver. Like no matter where you were, no matter what, it just felt like nobody's going to pay more than $150 to have me deliver. And it wasn't until I started then going, well, why don't I do this on an hourly, and what does that look like? Where it, you know, and sometimes it's also just about pulling the trigger and doing it. The first time you charge somebody $350 for delivery and they don't blink an eye, you're like, oh, whew, got away with that one. All right. Why shouldn't you get that, right? By the time you load your van, get to the venue, unload your van, are on site for the appropriate amount of time. Here's the other thing. When I didn't charge appropriately for delivery, I could not get out of there fast enough, right? I'm like, these people don't pay me to be here all day, right? So I would get there, and I'm like trying to get out as fast as possible. Now, when I charge more, I'm more willing to hang around, okay? I will be there. I'm not like, oh, well, if you don't have those guys ready with those boutonnieres in the next 15 minutes, like I'm out of here because I'm done. I've got no reason to be here. Like I do have a reason to be here, and it's because I charged you for 3 hours worth of setup just in case you need me to stand around here and twiddle my thumbs while you get 8 groomsmen to get together, okay, and meet you on the back lawn. So we learn, we grow, right? And when we can justify and feel confident in our pricing, that's when everything else starts to the wheels just start going, and you're going to make more money, and you're going to also present that confidence to your clients. So if you're not confident in your pricing, Flower Math was made for you. And I'm going to tell you why you should get it sooner rather than later. It's the end of the year, right? This is the time. Now, this goes for anything, whether it's my course or another course or a workshop or some investment that you need to make for your business. Now is the time to do it, because it is, you can put it into your expenses for this year. So if you had a particularly good sales year, buy some stuff this month for your business, okay? This is the time to do it. If you need to have your website updated, get somebody, right, to get that money spent this year. And if you haven't made enough money in your business and you're going, I don't have $500 for Flower Math, like that's an investment. I don't have that, right? That may be true. There are some people who really, like, you just don't have $500 to do that. But the flip side of it is, if you're in this business and you're serious, how long does it take you to make $500? So how long will it take you to make back that investment? And that's just part of investing in general. That's my life investment advice for you. How long does it take to make back your investment? But truly, on something like Flower Math, the reason I priced it at $500 is because it's not for looky-loos. It's not for people like, no, I'm just curious. I want you to be a business owner who needs this information if you're getting in this course, because I really do give you everything. I mean, I not only show you how to do it, I show you my real weddings, real profits, real recipes. And the most valuable piece of Flower Math, in my estimation, is the recipe creation and how I create my wholesale orders. Because, as I always like to say, it doesn't matter what you charge if you overbuy, okay? If you are spending too much at your wholesaler, you are never going to meet these profit margins. So in order to get the profit, you have to keep your wholesale orders tight and right. And I show you exactly how I do that in Flower Math. The other thing that I think is really cool in Flower Math is I don't do any budgeting, right? So I was just saying how people sometimes suggest you should price based on need. Well, some people show up to their wholesaler with a spending goal. you shouldn't have a spending goal, right? You have a profit goal, and the spending should be related to your recipes, but it shouldn't be like, I have this much to spend, and so I'm going to spend it all, okay? That should not be the case. Again, think of it this way. If Apple is making a new whatever, I don't know, watch, phone, whatever, they're not going to say, oh, we got this at a better price. Well, we should lower the price of this product because it cost us less. So we should lower the price. Never going to happen. Not how people do business. So don't you do business that way either. Don't feel like you have to spend an amount. That's really, I think, where the difference between people who understand industry pricing and the people who don't, it's like that's where the light, the divide becomes clear. Like if you really think you owe it to your client to spend a certain amount of money, that means you do not understand why you're pricing the way you're pricing, okay? So the why is always super duper important, but confidence is really what I want you to get out of this course. I want you to make more money. I want you to be confident. I want you to be like Janet, where you're like, I was unsure about some things, but I was sure about pricing, and guess what? Like, we turned a profit, right? I mean, I had someone write to me, Larissa, I hope you don't mind me calling you out, Larissa, who said, Flower Math like saved my business, right? That's why I made Flower Math. I didn't make Flower Math as some just a course to sell to florists. Like, I want you to get the full benefit of it. And I'm here to support the course. So if you ever have a question, you can contact me. And I'm going to tell you, in 2 years, I haven't had anyone ask for a refund. I haven't had anyone complain, and I very rarely get questions. I'm always happy to answer them. You could take Flower Math and 3 years from me ask a question. 3 years from now, ask me a question. But I don't get people who are like, what I wasn't sure about, because it's all there for you, okay? And I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. This course is here for you anytime. You don't have to buy it before the end of the year. You could buy it next year. It's there for you. But if you want to make more money and you want to be more confident, the confidence is the piece that no one can give to you, right? Nothing can give you confidence, but a plan can give you confidence. A roadmap can give you confidence. And that's truly my intention of creating Flower Math. I think I have missed a few comments in here, but no questions. Everyone's being super kind. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so glad that you are here. And if you have questions after the live stream, or if you're watching in a replay, shoot me a message. You can leave a comment, shoot me an email. Like, I am a real person behind the courses, the live streams, behind this group. And I really appreciate you all for being here. Next week, I'm going to see you Tuesday, 12/12, my mama's birthday, Frank Sinatra and my mom. And I have something to share with you about what I'm getting super obsessed about with my business right now and for the foreseeable future. And I can only hope it is not going to be a surprise to you what I have to say, okay? So I hope you'll tune in for that or watch in a replay. Thank you so much for being here. Flower Math's available anytime at realflowerbusiness.com. Just keep doing beautiful work all the way through this year. Just keep doing it, okay? Whether you're busy or you're like hearing crickets, whatever your position is right now, do work. Do some work and give yourself a high five this Friday for all the work you have done already this year. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you next time.